Guys, welcome to a new video. Today is going to be my last impressions video on everything that's been going on with Peter MONN. I think that there were a few videos that were uploaded by other channels that sort of missed the mark, or they didn't watch our videos at all because they knew that we weren't, justifying everything Peter was doing and making excuses for him. So I just wanted to touch on a few things before I just stop talking about this, unless something crazy happens. For me, one of the main things, other channels, they did these videos pretty much implying that these tweets are the only thing that is wrong with Peter, that we saw these tweets and we were off with his fucking head. And that was that. We just wrote him off for just these tweets. That is not the case with me or in my video because I specify other, issues I had with Peter. Another thing that's sort of bothering me is a couple of these videos rub me the wrong way because the people that made them, they talked about themselves for most of the video and then said, well, see, I'm not the same person I was back then, so Peter's not. Nobody's saying that he can't change. It's just that a lot of people are calling this inappropriate things that he said or mistakes. Coming out the gate saying, oh, if you've never said anything inappropriate before, then you're God, hi. Well, no, we're not saying, that, some of us haven't said inappropriate things. I used the F word against my best friend at 12 years old. I was an asshole. And I think that what it did was it turned around the conversation that should have been on Peter and his actions and the way that he has been lately, along with these tweets. It turned it to be about us. Oh, well, you can't say anything because you're acting like you're on some moral high ground. I think that Peter has always acted like he was on a moral high ground, personally. But none of us are saying that. But the point is that we couldn't even talk about just him and his channel and the way he's been acting and these tweets because it was always getting tossed back in our face. Well, what about you? So that bothered me a little bit because, and also saying inappropriate. No, the things that he said were homophobic, racist, and inappropriate. I don't know why they're just being called inappropriate or saying that, oh, he made mistakes. He was still a grown man. He was still a sober grown man. So I don't see this as a mistake. I just feel like this is how he was feeling at the time. Maybe he has changed, but there are a lot of things going on other than these tweets. Now, coming from me, who supported Peter long before the first John Kuckian attack, I kind of feel like after the second, I was watching Peter every day, crying along with him when he was ready to quit his YouTube channel. So this is not coming from some place of hatred, like I'm on some witch hunt, like I want his head on a stick. No, this is just a disappointed former fan, And I think that after his second, John Kuckian's second attack on Peter, where all of these influencers came together, everybody was supporting him. I feel like some people didn't want to touch this because they don't want to seem like they are attacking Peter because that seems sensitive because of all the things that he had to deal with. One thing that pissed me off was a DM that I got saying, oh, I must be on John Kuckian's dick. Ew. I do not agree with anything that comes out of John Kuckian's mouth. Just because I am feeling some type of way about Peter now does not mean that I believe what John Kuckian tried to say about him, because I don't believe that. I will defend Peter forever against that piece of shit. I'm just I just felt like, some of these drama channels probably didn't even watch our videos, because if they had, then they would have been like, oh, well, this isn't just about these tweets, or, this is a former fan talking about all of these other things that have been going on, And that's the thing. I don't want him to fail. I don't want him to not have success because of this. I don't have any like bad feelings towards him, aside from the fact that I'm disappointed. I don't trust him, and he made me feel differently about him because of his words. And that's just the way that I feel. And some people didn't care. Some people thought that what he said didn't even matter, that he didn't do anything wrong, because they stand this man that hard. Now, I don't get that at all, because you should at least be able to be like, okay, well, these things were racist, and this is fucked up, but I forgive him. You know what I mean? The abortion tweet was the one that bothered me the most. And I feel like in that tweet, it sort of, I always thought of Peter as this person that was like not misogynistic, and, you know, stood up for like women and stuff. And that's why it changed so much after reading that particular tweet. He said ghetto a lot. He said fag a lot. That's not a mistake to me. That is somebody that uses that language and uses it every day, because there's so many tweets, you know? So I don't know why people are calling this a mistake. Could he have changed? Of course. But don't just write it off like everybody makes mistakes, you know? I mean, come on. So I did write down like some key points here, because I just did not want to forget anything. I also, you know, in some of these videos where they're like, oh, I talked to Peter, I've been friends with Peter, I know Peter isn't this kind of person. Well, if you have had a few DMs with Peter like I have, then you would be like, oh my God, he is the sweetest man on the planet. And obviously, while he is going through drama, he's not going to act anything but extremely friendly. But we know from the past that he has had falling outs with friends. Here for the Tea even had said in a live stream that their friendship was one-sided. Like, he was always concerned about him, his channel, all of his crap. Like, didn't even care about her. It was just about him. So it's not like we are the only ones that feel this way, or that have seen these things and have seen Peter sort of change, you know? And it's interesting because my husband would watch Peter with me a lot. I mean, because I just loved him so much. And even just like a month or so ago, the last time I shared a video of Peter's, my husband walked past, he was like, is that Peter? And I was like, yeah. So he comes over and looks. I think he had like a total crush on him back then. But he was like, I don't know, something just doesn't feel right about him now. Like, geez, you know? So it's not like it's just me, you know what I mean? And it's not just because of these tweets. But I feel like, you know, some people didn't really want to go at this because either they didn't care or they excuse that kind of behavior because they've also used that language. That's another thing. Oh, you've never said anything inappropriate. Well, if we're going to twist around the conversation back on us so that we can't even talk about Peter, then yeah, I have probably said some like maybe like gross jokes or something, but I'm not a person that uses fag or the N-word or ghetto in my life. So I don't use those, you know, not all of us have said inappropriate things that are also racist or also homophobic, also misogynistic, you know what I mean? So just to chop it up to being like, oh, it's inappropriate isn't really giving it, I don't think, the right kind of attention. Like I said, I do not wish anything bad for Peter, you know, I just feel like he has changed. I think that, you know, some of these other channels just made it out to seem like we were out for blood and we didn't care. Like, we didn't have any critical thinking. Like, we weren't looking at the man as a whole, which I am. And that's the thing, because if you are to look at him as a whole from way back to now, there are significant changes. There are some things that are questionable. There are some things that have happened, you know, and that's okay that they want to stick by him. I mean, just as much as it's okay for, you know, me and anyone else to be like, wait a minute, you know, this makes him seem different to me. Like I said, I don't condone people attacking him. I don't condone anything fucking John Cuckian said. I don't think that people should be so brutal against him. You know what I mean? I don't dig those attacks on anybody, you know? You have a right to be upset, but like attacking him or like his husband and stuff, I mean, that just makes you look bad. And a lot of Peter's stans, you know, tweeted at me or left me comments. Most of them were pretty respectful. One of them, in fact, was, I stan him, but I hope you come back someday. Maybe I will. So most of them were pretty cool, and we had conversations and we disagreed, but we weren't calling each other names or, you know, just being like, fuck you, you disagree with me, boom, you know, no, none of that. We're having like actual conversations. I just feel, like I said in my last video, that there's something just in my gut that just feels differently about him. And just because I feel differently about him doesn't mean that I want him to fail or that I want people to hate him. You know, it's not even about that. I do feel like some of these channels went on and on and on about how nobody's perfect without really like analyzing him and his channel and just everything together, like the whole picture. It was just, well, Peter's my friend and everybody says inappropriate things. Not everybody says fucking homophobic, racist shit. I'm sorry. Maybe you have, and that's why it's like so great for you to be like, oh, well, he gets a pass, you know? But no, some of us, like, inappropriate to some of us is maybe like a dirty joke or, you know, swearing in front of a kid. That's inappropriate, you know, but call it what it is, you know. Don't just, you know, just take it down to just being inappropriate, because it was homophobic and it was misogynistic and it was racist. We all know what he meant by ghetto, so don't even. My interactions with Peter had been nothing but amazing. Even after my Slay and Shade, he had done a video about growing up with like alcoholic parents. I had sent him a DM about that. Nothing but a sweetheart. I bought his book and I read his book and I tweeted about his book. Like, I'm just saying, I'm not coming from some place of just hatred towards Peter. It's just, these are all of the things that have made me not trust him, not feel the same way about him. And I just wish some of these bigger channels would have covered everything as a whole, instead of just being like, oh, well, these are old tweets, so who cares? I think it deserved a little bit more attention than that. Because if it had been anybody else, if it were a beauty influencer, if it was John Cuckian or another drama channel that the clique doesn't like, they would have talked about it in a different way. And I'm sorry, that's just how I feel. I really think that that it just would have went down differently. Just because I'm like brutally honest, Jordan Byers, and some of the things I say, it doesn't mean like I'm a hateful person or that I wouldn't give him another chance someday. It's just right now something feels just bad to me. And I think that these channels missed the mark by just acting like we were just going after him for no reason, or making it out to seem like he doesn't deserve success or doesn't deserve a following because of things he said in the past. But just don't call something inappropriate when it's racist. Don't call something inappropriate when it's misogynistic or homophobic. Don't act like it was a mistake, like he accidentally dropped an ice cream cone. No, I mean, he's on Twitter saying the word fag like a lot, you know? So I don't know. This, again, just how I feel about this whole thing, because unless there's something crazy that happens, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I just, you know, I just feel like they didn't do a good enough job. I respect the fact that these people have gone through their own struggles and they talk about them, and they're like, I wasn't the same person when I was doing this. I wasn't the same person back when I was this age. Like, I understand that. But why aren't we talking about him specifically? That's all I'm saying. Because when you make it out to seem like it's just about these tweets, it does diminish like the fact that there are other things going on here. And I don't know, you know, I feel like just because you talk to Peter a few times, that doesn't mean that you know the crust of a motherfucker. And you know, time will tell how this all pans out. So, you know, thank you guys for watching and subscribing. Thank you guys for all of, like, the comments on the last video and us debating and the new Twitter followers and the DMs and stuff. I'm still trying to get to all of those. You know, you guys are super fucking awesome. Even the people that followed me that don't even agree with me, you know, thank you for the DMs. Like, I don't agree with you, but I like that you were blunt, so I subscribed. Thank you. That's pretty awesome. Because just because you don't agree with me doesn't mean I don't want you here, you know? So follow me on Twitter if you feel like it, and I will see you guys in the next video, which is going to be my husband waxing my eyebrows. And then we'll get into talking some shit because I have a lot to say about a lot of other people. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Love and hugs. Bye.